So, Grim Dawn. This video is a bit overdue, but better late than never. I can't really make a first impressions about this game because I've been playing it on and off for quite some time since the alpha state. So instead I'm going to have to spend some time to go through the boring stuff. If you want to skip to the combat and everything, a timestamp would be provided later in the post. But anyway, yeah, so tutorial tips, show enemy levels, optional rollover, enable quick sell, display damage, show crit multipliers, target outline, classic targeting. This is a bit, well, let's just put it that if you're old enough to remember the old ARPGs, you'll remember the setting. Otherwise, lift is unchecked for new players. Lock map rotation, lock item pickups, auto item tooltips, and the they recently updated this game and they shifted one option that used to be here, which was to choose what quality of items were displayed to you. I will go through this later on. Camera shake, I hate this, so I turn it off. Key bindings, audio, pretty standard fare. Video, yes, this game doesn't look really that pretty, I have to admit. It looks a bit dated, but it still holds up. You'll see. Network, standard, this is for multiplayer. I'm not gonna go through this for now. So, on the right hand side is where you create and delete characters. You store your characters there as well. Swapping between them is just as easy. You choose the character that you want to go into the game with and then you hit start. Now before that, you can set up a single player, or either you join a multiplayer, host multiplayer, etc, etc. And whether or not you're playing a custom game, as well as the difficulty. Elite and Ultimate are unlocked later on in the game. After you completed one playthrough, think of it like a new game plus. And of course Veteran is to enable whether or not there are more mobs that are clustered together and stronger mobs in general. Think of it as this affecting the stats and this affecting the numbers. So let's jump into the game. Alright, first things first, let's take a look at the inventory. Old stuff, I would say. Most of this is very familiar to those who have played Titan Quest. Except the new thing is I get to sort my inventory really easily. Inventory backspace additional that's again something familiar. Attributes. Now when I level up, I get to pump and point into either physic, cunning, spirit, etc, etc. This was the enchanting that I talk about. If you notice, the weapons and items have on the bottom right corner an item that appears there. This is the enchantment system that they use over here. So really basic stuff. You have your basic weapon, you add this in, you have additional effects. You can talk to somebody to remove the items for you, to either preserve the items or preserve the enchantment. Most of the time we wouldn't really use head servers unless you're talking about near the end game when you start playing around with your builds and sharing all the end game items between your characters. And yes, to answer that question, there is a bank, a stash, that is both character specific and account specific. And you can of course unlock more space by spending money on it. There's only one single in-game currency. That very same currency can also be used to reset your progress in terms of your skills and of course your devotion. Now, I'll come back to the devotions and skills later. Questing is pretty straightforward. You talk to somebody, you get a quest at the site, they tell you what to do, and you have to figure out where it is, because it's not indicated in the world map. This is the world map, and it literally shows you almost everywhere. So until you make it near enough to the area where the quest is, you're not going to see anything displayed on your world map. Instead, it will show up as a star, as an icon on your mini-map if you're lucky, but most of the time it's visual cues on the mobs itself, the mobs that you need to kill. Then, let's see. So, let's jump into the skill systems now. It's about the same as Titan Quest. Of course, Titan Quest was flipped, I would say. When I added up points into the class itself, it went upwards instead of sideways. But pedantics. Anyway, so the way the class system works is that you need to add points into the class itself. This is this button over here, right? Each point you add in gives you stats as well, along with your leveling up stat growth. So with the stats you get from this, it basically means that generally, if you multi-class, you would end up having more base stats, right? But of course that means you're actually spending more points into adding into the class, and that means you're not actually spending points into the skills. Skills are really basic. It's split into either passive / on hit, which is or active. So passive skills are represented by circles and actives are represented by the squares. And if it's on hit, they would let you know accordingly. Like for example, this it's a melee dual wielding bonus, and this is an active. This is a toggle effect, etc., etc. So, let's move on to the devotion system. Now, this, on first glance, it seems a bit like Path of Exile. I was under the impression it was really similar to Path of Exile, but it really isn't, actually, now that I think about it. It does borrow some elements from it, but that's about where the similarities start and end, is that it just looks like the stars. So, you add to a point, you gain this pinkish color you see over here, and that unlocks us the requirements for other constellations. So let's say, for example, I start with, let me find one where it says in requirements. There, affinity requirements. So over here you see it says it requires one of the purple, which will be here. So you start from the center here, which means that at the start, if you want to gain access to any of the other constellations, you have to be at a minimum to pump a single point here. Now, how do you get these points? You get them by finding shrines. Let me jump there. So this, alright, let me interrupt that. This is the teleport system. Shows you where all these portals are. So out in the map, you come across these portals. They at first be green, and once you activate them, they turn purple, and that means you've unlocked access to it permanently. So, moving on back to the shrines, let me get to the map with the shrines. The map with the shrines. Oh god, this is such a long journey. Did I run the wrong way? I think I ran the wrong way. Yeah, I ran the wrong way. Damn it. I don't remember having any effect like that. What was the explosion? Let me check what was the explosion. My goodness, that is ridiculously overpowered. What on earth is that explosion? What did I add? Increases self-regeneration. Huh. I have no idea where I added that to. Okay, anyway, let's move on first. Head into the cave. Shrines, get rid of all this. Okay, so over here you see one of the white items just fell, and you can filter out what you want to be shown with this button over here. So they shifted it from the options menu into the in-game menu. I'm not sure why they did that. I'm not going to question it. It's just that I was rather confused at first. But yes, now the options over there. Oh, money. 1.5. No, that's lower than mine. Too lazy to look at other stuff. Okay. Cutest monkey. This is a low level area, so for those of you who are wondering, monsters do scale to your level, but they scale to a point, so you can over level an area and make it super easy if you're into that sort of things. Which also means that it's quite possible for you to go and grind some levels and come back to a boss that's giving you trouble later on. Of course, the later into the game that is, the less reliable that method is going to become, but at the very least, if you're going to be planning a build that's extremely weak at the start, this game supports you in doing that. Okay, so over here is one of the shrines. I've already unlocked it, so normally shrines have sort of a mini quest associated to them. This one required me to give it some offerings, if I remember correctly. So if you are required to give some offerings to it, it's really simple. You just clear the area, give it an offering, and done. You unlock the shrine, you gain a devotion point. With the devotion point, you spend it into this. As you can see, points available 0, points unlocked 11 out of 50. Now, the other type of shrine is, they call it a corrupted shrine, and that means even after you clear the area of the mobs, and once you interact with the shrine, it would spawn more monsters. These monsters may or may not be scaled to the area, but they're definitely much stronger. So, just, yeah, be aware before you fight a shrine, and just don't jump in head first without really thinking about what the implications might be. Especially, there was one time I actually clicked on a corrupted shrine while still surrounded by mobs. It was not a fun experience. So, to jump back, I can hit L and it opens up my own personal portal. This is a... Okay, the way this thing works is to head back to any other portals, it's unlimited. Alright, to demonstrate what I mean is, let's head back to Devil's Crossing first. Okay. So I head back to this main town. This is sort of the main starter town. You have all the services around here, as you probably already noticed earlier. And if I were to go back to my personal riff, it's marked as a red smaller circle. You notice it stays. So it works both directions, unlimited number of times. This again was changed based on player preference. For those of you who played Path of Exile, you also know the annoyance that comes with using your own personal portal is that once you come back on a return journey, it disappears. So now it's much easier for you solo because you no longer have to make this journey all the way, or rather you don't need to remember to drop your personal portal again. If this doesn't make sense to you, no worries, it's just a little peeve that I have from Path of Exile and most other ARPGs that have personal portals. So, with that, I think I explained most of the systems as much as I can. If I miss anything out, just feel free to hit us up on Slack to find out more. But, I guess now to really jump into the combat proper, let's hit on to actually setting up my character. Now, the last I checked, I didn't assign anything. So when it comes to the devotion systems, it's something that was new. It's intended to be placed in the game in the first place anyway, but it was one of the last things that they implemented. So the devotion system, it's a little bit different from most other things you have because every class have access to the same devotion system, right? So in other words, you can be a mage with the same on-hit, or in this case it's 25% chance on attack, so the same on-hit effects. Or even, if you are inclined, you can be a mage with on-blocks attacks, if you're equipping a shield. Alright. that the main intention was that this game is meant for you to build literally any build you can think of. That's the beauty of the multi-class system. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times 5, 30 effective classes in this game, and then uh, add on another 6 more, so 36, because you can choose to specialize in a single class. Alright? So the devotion system just basically empowers every build. What do I mean by that? Okay, for example, like this devotion constellation called Tsunami is a 35% chance on attack, and that basically gives an AoE to most builds. So if you're going to be speccing a single target class, and that means you're going to need some sort of AoE clear, this might actually help you at the beginning of the game or even late game, because the damage does scale from your main hand weapon. Alright, so let me assign this to something. Oh, I quite nearly forgot. Alright, so in this game, the one thing you need to remember is that skills have diminishing returns. So it's not always the best idea to level up your skill to the maximum. Alright, of course, if you're into min-maxing, I am not going to go through in this video. There are plenty of other resources and plenty of other people who are way better at it than I am, and you can go ahead and look up their guides. Okay, done setting up my character. Let's go kill some stuff. I needed to hit somewhere to do something. What was it? Alright. I remember here. Lots of stuff to kill. Now in this game, mobs respawn when you relog, so to speak. So as long as you exit to the main menu and you come back, you would have caused all the mobs to reset. So they respawn, and that is how most people farm actually. So I'll demonstrate what I mean in a moment. Let me get rid of this. What on earth is that? So this is one of the farming routes I used to use. Because, first of all, you probably notice there's a lot of mobs that are just under my level. So they're actually dropping loot that I can use. Or at the very least, sell it for good price. And there's this guy. So he equips dual axes, and for those of you who remember the other post that I made, the first post I made on Grim Dawn, bosses drop weapons that they are seen equipping. It's no different with this guy. So on the first glance I can see that the axe that he's equipped, one of that is a higher level axe. So I'm really hoping that's a well enchanted axe, because my build is centered around axes. So that was the reason why I was farming this boss previously. Okay, these were the 2 items that he dropped. So, oh man, nope. So this was the item that I noticed was the same as the axes I'm equipped with. Unfortunately, the enchantments aren't that good, so the damage per second is much lower than what I already have. Never mind, I'll pick them up anyway for this time. Let me take all this in. I'm gonna bring them back to sell. Oh, so that's what those explosions were. It's from my equipment. Right. Okay, so it's really, this is all about it. Oh, I nearly forgot. Right. Okay. Now, if you notice my health bar, it's red with this yellow glow over it. Now, items like food rations restore the yellow glow. So what's the purpose of the yellow glow? Let me jump to a weaker character. But before that, let me exit. Alright. Go back in again. And hit here. And voila! All the mobs have respawned. You'll notice it's slightly different. So again, that's another fun thing. It's the mobs are all spawned randomly, so to speak, from a set of mobs that are possible to spawn. So that does make the game not that stale, but it also does make it kind of annoying if you want to farm a specific mob and the game is just not spawning it for you. So yes, cute all this. Oh, the boss didn't spawn for this round. Huh. What would you know? It's a pretty low chance that he doesn't spawn. You guys got lucky. So yeah, that's about all that I need to cover about mob spawns and combat in general. Now that I remembered about that one last item, let me just show it before I end this video. Let me switch to this character. Yes, my naming of characters is excellent. Thank you. Alright. This character is rather weak because I made this build for fun, and it turns out that going full paper is not the best idea. It never was, but during alpha and beta this build was actually excellently strong because you killed anything before they could even touch you. But after they reworked all the resistance and everything, yeah, life sucks. Okay, so let me see. If you notice, I'm getting pelted pretty badly and my health has dropped. Let me maintain this battle state a bit longer. Seriously, this build is freaking fun. I'm a walking laser house. Bring on the rave music. Eat all these lights. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, so my health has dropped sufficiently low, and you'll notice after I clear the mobs, once I'm out of combat, the yellow bar is used to actually heal me. So this is known as your constitution, and it basically determines how long you get to stay out in the battle. So once this runs down to 0, the only way you're going to restore your health is through potions. If you aren't already using it to keep up in fights, or it's to find food. So yeah, that's the basic gist of the game. I'm just gonna continue using my laser. Ow. Someone's shooting me from in there. Oh, they're shooting past. Oh, they're shooting the wall. Alright, I'm safe. Hello, lovelies. So yeah, that's about it. That's really about it. Where's the boss? Man, I am on a lucky road. There's normally a boss that spawns around here as well. God damn it. Ugh. Yep, no boss. Damn. What did I bloody chunches? Okay, so that's Grim Dawn in a nutshell. The best I can try to create a video that I can think of hand right now. If there's any features or anything that you guys want to focus in particular, just drop us a shout on Slack, and I would try and see what I can create to explain it. If I can't, I'll at the very least direct you towards resources that will explain more. And yeah, alright, so thank you for watching, and for those of you who are reading the transcript instead, thank you for reading. See you.